Right, well, time for another update, I suppose. The lid, it's red. I cleaned the handle up as best as I can manage. It is extremely dusty because I've been working on the box. And, oh boy, it's worse than I thought it was going to be. I've stripped off the blue now, so on the outside anyway. This is all going to get smoothed out a little bit. And in there, a bit chunky. I don't think there's a square inch of this thing that isn't damaged. You can see all the pits and the dents. Cause I've given this a quick lick of filler primer just so I can see what's going on. And where the light catches it and stuff, oh, wow. I mean, that thing is dented. I tried to knock a lot of it out from the inside just to give it a bit of shape. But, I mean, it should be round, and you can see down there, all the way down there, it's just not. So that's going to need a fair bit of filler and smoothing back. And then I started working on the inside, and, well, where's it gone? This was in there, and that was the condition underneath it. I don't quite understand what's going on, because I thought this was single skin, and that where I've rubbed it down is now very smooth, so that must have been something that was just stuck in there and basically rusted to it. So that's come out and was all down this channel here and all the way along there. I've tried to patch over the holes, and again, it's not. It was me. Not very pretty, but this will all be filled up. I've still got to figure out what I'm going to do with these. That wouldn't take, so I had to move that up. This side worked all right. This side just needs a bit of hammering, smooth it down a bit better, primer. And as I say, I don't think there's a single square inch of this thing that hasn't got something wrong with it. These are okay. The shape of these is all right. This one is, I'm not quite sure. I still can't take that out, so I've got to paint around it and paint it. It's the whole thing. But yeah, as you can see where I've put a little bit of metal plate over it and split rivet in place. It's not brilliant, but there'll be around the hole. I'll sandwich it between two washers when I put it in place, and I'm going to put a bit of filler around the gap, around the edges, smooth it all down. So it's coming along. I mean, because of my injury, I am doing it a bit at a time. I'm just focusing on the worst patches at the moment before I strip the rest of the paint out. But we're getting there. I did try paint stripper, and I don't know if this is. I'm beginning to think it might be powder coated, but powder coat should be slightly thicker than this, because this is like one layer of paint deep, just there. So it's a strange one for sure. The outside has been a pig to get clean, and this bit where it's had no guide for the handle comes out here, and it's where it hooks on about that far out, and basically where that's had no guide, it is just worn. This should be circular, so hopefully when I put a washer over it, it'll put it a bit more central with the bolt thing, pottery nipple that I've got to go in there, and then these, you can see where the rust has stained the metalwork slightly. The rust is pretty much all gone from the outside. Again, a little bit of a buffing down will help. A bit of wire brushing just to get the worst of it is out. And with these had a piece of metal just loose come out about there. I think it was like a bash guard or something, but it was like one there and one down there. I've just cut them off because the amount of rust that was underneath them, I wouldn't have been able to get to it. And you can see where it's still there, where the paint hasn't quite got to it. But yeah, those were rusty, so I had to take those out just to be able to get at it, and there's no real replacement. I could have drilled these out and replaced them all together, but I didn't want to. And then you can see where it's been damaged, and there are certain areas where it's been, you can see where it's, underneath you can see where it's ground along, and in the various spots you can see where it took the worst of the weather. It was all the way across the top. The actual inner side, there's a line that runs along here where it fits flush with the frame, and you see that bit that needs to be taken out a little bit, but there was a line across there of where the paint had rusted through, and then I've got to get in there and clean all that out. I mean, I think that's just dirt rather than rust, but we'll give it a good blitz out. But what I want to focus on is, see, that's got a washer inside and out, if we can see the inside one up there. So I need to tidy that up. So I haven't got to worry about reinforcing that. I'm just going to reinforce the bottom too. But no, the main job now is to try and get this curve relatively smooth and not pitted and lumpy. So that's the main part, because this is the bit that you're going to see. You're literally looking at it from that angle like that. So that's the bit that you get to see, as well as the lid, and the lid's in pretty good shape, so that'll fit. Well, still got a little bit of straightening up to do, but that'll sit on there. And I've got the pins to go back in there, which I'm going to have to take care of to put back in. But yeah, the latch mechanism's all been cleaned up and put back together. I had to, for some reason it wasn't quite sitting that well, so I had to drill out and file out these little, this was just a big washer, but I don't know if there was supposed to be something this side or not, but it wasn't sitting right, so I had to put some cutouts in this washer so that it would sit down, and then it's just spring tension. So it's all sitting nicely, and it's relatively clean, just like I say, dusty because of where it's been stood. Because I did that ages ago and been working on this since. So yeah, this thing it's a lot more work. I knew this was going to be, see, we've got a couple of cracks that I'm going to have to fill over as well. I knew this bit was going to be a lot of work. Didn't think it was going to be quite this much work, which is why, I mean, this is the first one I've done with a box. And it's one of the reasons why I do these things is because I want to do something slightly different each time. So I did the first, oh, that's going to fall down. I did the first trike, which was the Lion. That was just a standard trike. This one's got the box on it, which means the mudguards fit differently. And it's a slightly smaller wheel. Then the other trike I've got a 14-inch Rally Winky, which has got girder forks, and then I've also got another Gresham Flyer, but it doesn't have the box, it just has 15-inch wheels. So everything that I'm doing, it's different each time, so that I can experience something different each time, and I can learn something different each time. You know, like with this, I know I'm never going to do one with a box ever again. Yeah, and then I got myself a little Rally Chippy, treated myself to one of those. So that's going to be a full restoration. Sort of maybe replace some of the rivets with some bolts. But other than that, that is going to be standardised. I'm going to follow the paint scheme, get some new stickers and just keep it as it is. And then obviously my Tomahawk over there, which is something for me to do later. But yeah, this is just a quick update to say this has been a pig. It is completely misshapen. You can even see a crease running along there in this light. And that's just where kids have been stepping on it or kicking it, or it's been battered around in a shed. But I mean, that in there. Really not sure what that's about. Really not sure what that's about, because that's metal. It's very brittle and knackered metal. But it is metal nonetheless, and it came from in there, but it didn't leave a hole. So I'm very confused. But yeah, there you go. And that's just over 10 minutes. Hopefully you'll see that this is a lot more work than it needed to be. Well, I could have just whacked a coat of paint on this and let it rot, but I'm doing it as best as I can manage, and I want to do it so that it actually looks okay. The amount of people will have seen the base trike, which is up here. So I've got both mudguards done, ready to bolt on. The rest of the trike's done. I do need to put a spacer on the head because when you pick it up, the front wheel drops. But that's just because where the head bracket is, it doesn't quite sit properly. So I've got a little washer, a big washer, head washer, proper size to fit underneath that so that it'll sit a bit better. But yeah, once this is done, it's going to be nice. And everybody that says that bit says, oh, isn't it nice? Which is what we're aiming for. She's had a new seat, new pedals. She's had new grips, which are actually off a Suzuki quad bike. And then I ended up having to buy a new crank because the old pedal got stuck in it. And then it's just, elbow grease refurbishment. Again, next time you see this, I don't know if I'm going to do another one of these because I've got to be fair, it's boring and I'm kind of tired of doing it now. So I want to get it done and out of the way, so I don't know if I'm going to do another video until it's finished and you can see the finished thing. But yeah, just that face along there, that is going to take a lot of filling and sanding back just to get it right, especially as there's a ridge running down each side. So yeah, right, hopefully that will keep you up to date and I'll see you again soon. Right, see ya.